count to 3 and then say it. We're talking cilantro right now. This is going to be a quick video on how we start kale and cilantro from seed. We have kale 1,000 head. This one's going to be just a couple of plants because kale gets big. This is going to be the cilantro long standing from botanical interests. And then we're going to have the slow bolt cilantro from Seeds of Change. It's July 5th and because it's gonna start getting cool hopefully soon, these plants are gonna have enough time. These plants do not like heat at all, so ideally you want to place them somewhere where they get a little bit of a shade from a tree, not to prevent the sun but to cool down the temperature. Or you might want to wait until your weather starts cooling down a bit, especially during the day, so that your plants don't go to bolt. Alrighty, so you made little trenches, and very simple. You might want to do it different too, but this is how we're doing it. And then, what are we adding to the soil?
Bigfoot micos.
Okay, so what are the plants we do not use micos on when we start them from seed?
Beans, peas, any legumes, any brassicas like kale, broccoli, cauliflower.
Brassicas and legumes.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yes.
Okay.
But we do, for those,
we use a different inoculant.
Well, we'll use the fertilizer. We'll put it on top because it has a bacterial mixture, which is a beneficial bacterial mixture, which is what's good for the kale. For the brassicas.
So right now with the cilantro, we are using the micos. We've used other brands too. This is just the one we're using right now, and it's one of James's favorite. So if he can get away with using that one, basically, he would. Alrighty, so the seeds. We're gonna put the ones from Seeds of Change there. Now basically what we're doing is just adding the seeds to our little trenches. And you can super pack them like that, right?
Yeah, I like them to be very packed.
So what happens if most of them germinate?
Great.
Meaning, aren't they going to be very crowded?
No.
And then you just cover them, and then what do you do after you cover them?
You want to pat them down. They have a tendency to float. Compost would be good to put on top if you have a compost that's heavy on wood.
Just like this one.
Yeah.
And then you're talking something about alfalfa meal.
Yes, alfalfa meal has an inoculant in it, so we're going to add that to that.
Oh, so the question is, why are you adding alfalfa meal, and how do you apply it on top?
You just sprinkle it on.
And then you water it in?
And then you water it in.
And why are we adding alfalfa meal?
Because it has an inoculant. It's from Dr. Earth. And it's a decent fertilizer.
What do inoculants do?
They increase the good bacteria and fungus in the soil.
And we already know, and in case you didn't know, that helps feed the soil, and if you have a healthy soil, you have healthier plants. Right?
Yes.
Great.
This is a long-standing one in botanical interest. I think this is the one that's volunteering all those years.
So the one we
yard.
have in the terraces?
Yeah, I think it's the long-standing.
So you have a similar weather climate like we do, and you let them seed. So it's not a plant that comes out of the same plant. It has to seed in order for it to come back. So if you let some of your plants seed, or self-seed per se, then you might have some volunteers the year after.
Which we do. And we like to mix those in with our tomato plants.
They're good companion plants.
Because, yeah, they also attract a lot of pollinators.
Oh yeah, and if you have pollinators and beneficial insects, then you have better control of your pests, naturally. And cilantro is also known as coriander, so people call them either way.
Yeah, and if I can make a suggestion, make sure you get a slow bolt variety. These are all slow bolt varieties.
Especially if you have hot climate, right?
Yeah. Even though if you have a hot climate, you should probably try to grow them in the winter.
Fall?
The winter. The fall.
Well, at the end of the winter.
Yeah.
So if you had a hot climate area, well,
Meaning you're in a hot area with no snow.
if you live in a hot climate area
You
where
can
there's
grow
no snow, you have mild winters, then you can start this in winter and then enjoy cilantro by spring, I suppose.
Yeah, as
Early
long,
summer.
and they'll take light frost but not heavy frost.
Or you can also start them late summer. By the time it cools down with fall and before winter, you might have some cilantro.
Yeah. If you live in Denver, don't do this yet.
No, wait a little
Yeah.
bit, like maybe a month.
Yeah, about September.
Or use shade cloth.
it's
That
better.
might work for you. We're gonna experiment this year with shade cloth where their lettuces are.
Yeah, so
we're
we
gonna
can try
we're
to
gonna
grow them all
experiment
year.
this year with shade cloth with lettuce because it's already so hot, and we want lettuce before the frost. Although we have a couple of varieties that can take the frost, so we should be good. And that plant over here, it's a volunteer carrot that we're leaving there for the season, just because why not? Okay, moving on to the kale. This is what the seeds look like. The thing with kale is if you get a long enough growing season, it can grow like a little tree. So be sure to give enough space between plants. So here you go. Now you can plant them on.
And this is a new variety. My favorite is Red Russian kale.
I know.
I prefer that, but we're gonna try this
I can't eat the red Russian kale.
huge leaves.
This kale is supposed to look like collard greens. I guess we'll find out once we harvest them.
Okay.
So you're placing a couple of seeds per hole, right?
Yeah, about 5. I like. If you have like a what do we call that? As fertilizer that has bacterial dominated, that will be helpful. Also, compost tea is great. Is helpful. Compost itself is helpful.
Mm-hmm.
You could do all those things.
Okay, so
But if you put the mycos, it's not a big deal. It's just kind of a waste.
a waste. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you cover the holes.
Yes.
Alrighty. And then you put the alfalfa meal on top of these as well.
Yep.
And
But first
then-
we're gonna put the
When?
we're gonna
Compost.
because see how these are already popping up. That's the only thing that I really
Annoying about planting
like
cilantro.
planting cilantro is they float up so easily.
They want to come into the light.
Kind of.
All right, so now we added a layer of compost, a good chunk, and alfalfa meal, right?
Yep.
And now what's left?
That's it, we just water it in. As you can see, there are no seeds popping up from the cilantro. Anybody who's ever planted cilantro or coriander knows how the seeds float up very often. And that's why you get a compost that has like wood chippy stuff, because you want that to weigh down the seeds.
I hope this video helped you out to be able to plant both cilantro and kale from seed. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask us. Please use our social media to ask your questions. We'll be more than happy to help you out. And remember, if you grow with us, we grow together. Thank you for watching. Hi there. So this is gonna be a very quick speak louder.
And brassicas, which
Don't
is kale.
yell, just raise your voice like I am.
And brassicas and kale.
What you doing, puppy? What you doing, Ready? Are you in our video again? Superstar? What? Isn't don't you need it for the kale? Because it's a brassica? Wah, wah, I learned nothing. And the bikers, it's Monday.
And this is a new...
Wait, you can't do
No.
bikers. La 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 la. These well, none more so. We need to stop saying so. These kale supposed to look like collard greens. So again, so. This kale supposed to look like collard greens. Stop laughing. It's not that funny.
So.
And we're done.
Yep.
And then you're done.